In the year 2073, where are in New San Francisco, which is covered in orange skies and drones. Militarized police roam all over the streets, beating people as the world has been lost to the corrupt. The streets are being monitored to detain people who support democracy. People who behave disorderly in public areas are punished according to new regulations. We see the elites who grow richer as the poor become poorer.
Behave disorderly in public areas will be punished according to regulations, and their behavior will be reported. To avoid any negative record of personal credit, please follow the relevant regulations.
Now we meet our protagonist, a woman named Ghost. Ghost lives in the ruins of an American shopping mall, hiding from the government, still running. But for how long? Ghost reveals her grandmother got abducted by the government for raising her voice on political injustices, and after that, Ghost decided never to speak and acts as a mute. She reveals there are others living in the mall as well, but she tries not to speak with them. Ghost meets Jack, another mall resident. Ghost internally likes Jack because of his goofy puppy eyes, but she believes him to be an AI who listens and watches everything, which is why she doesn't trust anyone anymore. In the morning, Ghost heads out for her daily scavenger hunt, keeping in mind there's a curfew at night, so she has to be quick. She finds different things in dumpsters, including an autobiography of Malcolm X. As night falls and curfew is in motion, tension rises as Ghost is still out. The drones project a warning to head home. Otherwise, Ghost will be arrested for the government to do all sorts of horrifying things that haven't come to light. Ghost heads back to the mall, where the other residents have also brought all their things from the scavenger hunt. They all exchange their stuff, and Ghost hands Jack a red hat. Ghost then reads Malcolm X's autobiography and wonders how the world came to be what it is today. The documentary goes back to 1990, where we see footage of the democratic recession and its endemic in Eastern and Western Europe, in the United States, in India, and in the Philippines. We see footage of the 2008 economic and refugee crisis and the people who were responsible for it. The media played a big part in spreading hate and fear online for the entire world. These are our present times, where corporate billionaires are delving into politics and disrupting democracy. Social media has enabled the rise of authoritarian-style leaders. We see footage of these authoritarian-style leaders who are negatively influencing democracy, including Donald Trump, Narendra Modi, Netanyahu, Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping. We see footage of Rodrigo Duterte, mayor of Davao City, who publicly announces killing 3 million drug addicts, just like Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. We meet investigative journalist with 37 years of experience, Maria Ressa. Maria interviews Mayor Duterte about his open confessions for killing junkies and opposes him. We also meet another journalist, Rana Ayub, who's against Narendra Modi and his prejudice against Muslims. In 2016, we see London's political situation, where the British politicians are speaking against Muslim terrorists and endorsing hatred against Muslims. British journalist Carol Cadwalader, who's raising her voice against these politicians and making people realize the lies they have been fed all their lives. Little do we know that the world is going to change in the distant future, but more on that in a bit. In 2021, these journalists we met earlier are now starting to get arrested, framed, or sued by businessmen, which is a sign that the people's voice is being silenced. Back in 2073, Ghost wakes up and roams in the mall. We see the living conditions of everyone at the mall, who are living their lives like the dregs of humanity. Ghost heads towards the mall library, where she mentions her grandmother liked to record news and history. But it all vanished. She would read books and protest, which is why the government came after her, and now Ghost believes they will come for her too. Ghost reveals an event caused all this to happen, and we see how the poor people outside of the mall are eating. On the other hand, we see how the food and plants are being maintained for the rich in their lavish greenhouses as the rich indulge in these rare delicacies. Ghost is on her scavenger hunt again, but this time she is being monitored, and now the government is planning to detain her for interrogation. Ghost is unaware, but she's expecting the government The documentary takes us back to 1997, where the footage of Uyghur Muslims is shown. After September 11th, the situation for Muslims in Uyghur grew worse as the government imposed new strict policies that legalized arbitrarily detaining and killing Uyghur Muslims. In 2014, technological surveillance grew more, and the government now started legally labeling Uyghur people as normal, suspicious, and untrustworthy. The Chinese government created the biggest reservoir of data by scanning people, recording their biometric scans, retinal scans, and even their faces from all sorts of different angles, along with voice recognition. There are 1 million people in the Uyghur concentration camps, and the government puts all those people who are potentially untrustworthy, not actually dangerous, but just potentially. This is a part of humanity that has always been there and will eventually act as a brick to complete the foundation of the dystopian future of 2073. We see that this Chinese surveillance technology has spread all over the globe, as we see it being operated in Ecuador, India, and Jerusalem. Israel has been using facial recognition devices to record Palestinian civilians, and has been using drones to target them and bomb them. We see actual footage of Palestinians being bombed by Israel. Back in 2073, Ghost continues reading her book before getting interrupted by a woman. She asks Ghost if she can make tea, so Ghost allows her. The woman used to be a professor, but AI deemed her teaching obscene and criminal. Ghost reveals she trusted the professor, but this was the last time she saw her because she went missing afterward. Back in 2022, we see these tech giants like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos making history. With the rise of technology, journalist Maria Ressa highlights how these modern technologies are now commodifying our attention instead of our bodies and physical labor. She also poses the question, what's waiting next for us? And the answer is AI. In 2017, in Silicon Valley, these tech billionaires started working on artificial intelligence. And now it exists openly in our real world as we enter prompts to make documents, make fake videos, or even generate fake voice recordings. But that's not it. Tech billionaires like Elon Musk are creating AI robots and using AI drones to replace human labor, which will eliminate millions of jobs all over the world. AI will play a part in making the rich richer and the poor people poorer. Now, we meet Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal and an investor in many other giant organizations. Thiel is a venture capitalist who is anti-government and anti-state because he believes the Western government has not been doing its job well. Thiel points out the flaws of the US government and how they haven't been able to solve the homelessness crisis in San Francisco, and how it has affected the economic market. He mentions that homeless people live in the poorer parts of the town, and the rich live in the higher parts of town. This situation increased value for the higher part of town and changed the real estate market of San Francisco. Thiel's organization, Palantir, is a data company that has its claws into the British government and is slowly infiltrating the UK's National Health Service. The NHS has data from all across the nation and has millions of people's medical data. This data is coordinated and filed by Palantir's AI system that they have provided, and Palantir's recent customers have been the government. These governments include the Department of Justice, Defense, Homeland Security, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The narrating journalist reveals Peter Thiel is the kind of person who'd support anti-state beliefs, so he can benefit by creating a system that people with his capabilities can control. So he's no better than the already cunning government. Now, we see Jeff Bezos' plan to save humanity, which is to live in space in a giant capsule-like structure. He explains its nature and the benefits and how it can house up to millions of people. These billionaires are planning to have a safe backup plan because they believe a future catastrophe will eradicate life on Earth, and they need to preserve it. But they would need law and order at that moment, and it'll be a race for power by then. Which is why there have been a lot of measures for survival, like underground bunkers that can house people in times of catastrophic disasters. Back in 2073, Ghost remembers her childhood memories of nature, flowers, birds, and bees. We are shown the event that caused the future to look like this nightmare, and it's our current time situation. Countries fighting each other, launching missiles at each other's peoples. Lands and buildings are being destroyed. Climate change and storms are wreaking havoc all across the world. Ghost now wonders if she could have made a difference if she had stood up and fought back. We see remnants of 2018 where nature is decaying and animals are dying due to global warming. glaciers melting, streets and cities flooding. We see footage of the Australian fires causing the skies to turn orange. Journalists believe if the people allow the dictators and billionaires and private corporations more power, it will allow the planetary scale trashing of the ecosystem, which is more serious than the problems they have faced, like wars, famine, and genocides. Ghost wakes up in 2073 again and sees a dream of all these documentary footages, revealing we have been seeing Ghost's dreams all this time in the form of documentaries. Ghost now heads off to her scavenger hunt like usual and trades her stuff with others. Eventually, Ghost gets kidnapped by the government and now finds herself strapped to a chair. A machine asks Ghost questions like her name and which places she visits in San Francisco. But Ghost doesn't answer. The machine asks her what sort of organizations she has been in touch with and if she has ever been in a protest. Ghost remains silent as it reminds her of her grandmother and lies back on the chair, accepting her fate. We see a montage of militarized police attacking and beating innocent and brave protesters from all over the world. Journalist Maria Ressa reveals how this year 72% of the world is under authoritarian rule and they have crushed democratic systems from within. These authoritarians don't stay in their countries and make allies globally, which is how we see power shifts. Maria mentions time is ticking for us all. If we don't stand together and take a stand, we will all lose free will. We see Ghost's message from the beginning again, advising us to make the right decision. In a post-credit scene, we see the same machine interrogating Ghost, asking further political questions from Ghost regarding her political views, international contacts, and what she'll do upon her release. The documentary ends here. I am sure you liked the story recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.